Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. What's question 3? What's question 3?
Okay, question 3. How do you manage a talkative client?
I love talkative clients. I am a talkative client. You hug them, you love them. You energetically celebrate talkative clients. There's something awesome about someone who's just going to go. And so I think the first step is really loving them. I think so many coaches feel like, oh no, I don't get to have I have to manage this and get in there right away. Yes, you do. Yes, that's true. But I think there's a fundamental you need to have a party first, heart and mind party, and then you can jump in. I find it immediately useful to jump in and interrupt from the very beginning of these sessions with them, because in the first 10 minutes, we train people how to interact with us. This comes from Linda Gill Campbell. I took an NLP course from her, and she again stressed, we train each other how to interact with us from the very beginning. And I've heard beginning coaching sessions where a beginning coach is working with a talkative client and they're thinking, yeah, I'm gonna give them wide field of space, right? Like Drew just talked about, just an open, empty space to process, make it happen. There is a difference between a client who's telling a story to waste time because they're nervous or they don't want to get to the real tough things or whatever the reason they have. Or they want to be seen a certain way. To me, as someone listening, and when I'm really listening, there feels like a wobble or incongruence in that kind of story. It feels like, well, it feels boring. Honestly, this is boring. When that happens to me, where I feel that wobble, this feels incongruent, then it becomes kind of interesting in the sense of, it's not what they're saying is interesting, it's the wobble is interesting. And then you can ask questions, well, why is it here? What's this wobble there? And then that brings the coaching question. So if you interrupt with a question and it's a coaching question and it makes them stop mid wobble or mid story or mid time filling, and they go, oh, okay, wow. All right, let me look at that. I don't like relying on a designed alliance or saying, hey, you talk too much, stop talking so much, I want to ask questions. I don't like relying on that as much as I'm going to truly ask them a question that's so inviting that it makes them pause and stop and think and go in the coaching realm. And if they do start going back to a story, then I will ask a question. Why do you keep going back to story? What's here? And as a coach, this is the other part of it too, is I just went through this process where I tried to find a coach. So I went through, and some of the coaches will say things like, well, just tell me everything, that they want me to fill them, the coach, in on information that I know. Tell me what a typical day is like for you, or tell me this thing, like how many of this, I already know that information. If you as a coach are asking your client information that they already know, and they're already a talkative client, you are sunk. You're done. You're done. The client will then feel permission to say whatever they want to say, and you've lost that coaching power. You've lost the power of let me ask a question that they haven't yet considered to get them into the different spot. So it's almost like you have to have the question poetry, stop the prose with the poetic break and then get them into that space. That's how you train. That's how that to me is best practice with talkative clients.
Yeah. I love what you said earlier, John. I guess the thing for me as well is, we're here to observe as well. I observe people all the time. And what I'm curious about is what is going on here with this person, as you said, that they're talking a lot. What is it? Is it avoidance? Or, I have clients that I've worked with that talked a lot, and it's because they don't have anyone else hearing them in their life. So what's happening here? This person's got a lot to say, where else might they not be able to share their voice, or they're not being heard, or they even have an outlet for expressing themselves or sharing their ideas. And more often than not, there's themes coming up when you observe that person or you go with your gut. It's not always that this person is just talking too much. There's something else going on there in that. Other thing to be mindful of as well is that sometimes we're working with people who are different from us, different cultures, different ways of expressing. It might not be somebody's first language, so they are not feeling confident, and it might take them longer to share something. So all of these things I think we have to be mindful of, versus even going to an assumption or judgment ourselves as a coach that this person is just talking a lot.
Yeah. Yep. I love talkative clients. I think they're great. You gotta love them. It's all good. All right, book recs, and then we gotta finish this up. Raj, favorite book? I'm so curious. What book has had the biggest impact on you? Let's go with that question.
I've got so many, but I don't know. Can I just talk about what I'm reading at the moment? I'm reading
Please, yeah,
Psychology of Wonder Woman. And that's, of course I am. And that's having a real big impact on me. First thing I wanted to say, I'm Sikh. So my religious readings have had a big impact on me. And it's always something that my father talked about. I use some of those quotes. I'm writing a journal and I'm using those. So kind of faith-based things. But I'm excited. I'm reading The Psychology of Wonder Woman at the moment, and kind of how she was created, and the creator of the disc profile. Actually, that's where she came from psychology, and even her truth lasso. So I just got into it, but I'm really curious about where this is going to go with this character and how she came about. And there's so much in there around values and being. So that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to be too talkative. I know we're on time.
That's awesome. For me, I think like lately, I've been reading a lot of books on acting and character development. My daughters are in a pretty amazing acting program in Portland, and it's Katie O'Grady is the acting coach, and so we once a week go into I drive into Portland to take my oldest daughter there, and the kind of conversations we're having a lot around character development and what it's like in this and it's amazing all of how much of the acting world got absorbed by coaching, and this idea of I used to think in high school that acting wasn't that big, wasn't that hard, wasn't that big a deal, like whatever kind of thing. And my sense around it, like, it's not the hard sciences like physics or math or something like this. Acting is it takes wild courage to go and do some of these things. And so I think I've been going along for the ride when the character development, things like that. I would recommend coaches to take an acting class. Just go for it. It'll be not a lot, just a month. Just take a month of acting classes, see what happens. That would be a recommendation. I have taken a couple.